If you follow women's basketball or sports influencers, you've probably heard of Sedona Prince. She's a 6'7" college basketball star who gained massive fame, not just for her skills on the court, but also for her presence on social media. Sedona became a household name when she called out the NCAA for unfair treatment of women's athletes, exposing the disparity in training facilities between the men's and women's teams during the 2021 March Madness tournament. That viral moment cemented her as an advocate for equality in sports and made her a hero to many. But today, Sedona Prince is making headlines for an entirely different reason. Once celebrated as an inspiring athlete, she's now at the center of a social media firestorm, with multiple exes accusing her of toxic behavior, manipulation, and even emotional abuse. So how did Sedona go from being a fan favorite to being canceled by her exes? In the past few weeks, a viral narrative has taken over TikTok and Twitter, Surviving Sedona. What started as one ex-girlfriend's explosive revelations has now become a full-blown scandal, with multiple former partners stepping forward to share their disturbing experiences with Sedona. At the center of the controversy is a TikTok series by a creator named Via, who detailed a disastrous birthday trip to Mexico with Sedona. The videos describe a relationship full of emotional turmoil, reckless behavior, and accusations of infidelity. As more exes join the conversation, allegations of manipulation, gaslighting, and toxicity piled up, painting a disturbing picture of Sedona's romantic history. This controversy spread like wildfire, racking up millions of views across social media. As more people weighed in, the narrative became impossible to ignore. Some called for Sedona to be removed from her college team, while others defended her, questioning whether these personal issues should be aired out so publicly. Sedona herself eventually broke her silence, addressing the backlash and sharing how the situation was affecting her mental health. But her statement did little to stop the storm, and now she's facing serious repercussions, both in her personal life and her athletic career. How multiple exes have spoken out, and what they've accused her of, the public reaction, from outrage to debates over canceled culture. What this means for Sedona's future, both in basketball and as a social media influencer. This story is messy, shocking, and still unfolding. So let's dive into the full Surviving Sedona saga and unpack everything that's happened so far.
It's going to be what can we do to get the ball in the bucket and get a stop.
Sedona Prince is a name that has become well known in both the world of women's basketball and social media. Over the past few years, she has built a reputation as an outspoken athlete, LGBTQ+ advocate, and influencer, using her platform to highlight the inequality in sports and share her personal life with millions of followers. But before the recent controversy that has put her in the headlines for all the wrong reasons, Sedona was best known as a talented basketball player with a larger-than-life personality. So how did she rise to fame? And what made her such a major figure in both the sports and LGBTQ+ communities? Sedona Prince was born on May 14, 2000 in Hemp Hill, Texas. From a young age, it was clear that she had an athletic gift. Towering over her peers, she quickly became one of the most dominant young basketball players in the country, Prince played high school basketball at Liberty Hill High School in Texas, where she was widely regarded as one of the top prospects in her class. Her impressive skills earned her a spot on the USA Basketball U18 national team, where she helped the squad win a gold medal at the FIBA Americas Championship in 2018. This early success led to major college recruitment, with Prince ultimately committing to the University of Texas to play for the Longhorns. However, her career took a rocky turn before it even began. Sedona's time at Texas was short-lived due to a devastating leg injury she suffered before the 2018-19 season. The injury was severe enough to require surgery and forced her to miss her entire freshman year. Frustrated with the way Texas handled her recovery process, she made the difficult decision to transfer to the University of Oregon in 2019. Due to NCAA transfer rules, Sedona had to sit out another full season, delaying her much-anticipated debut in college basketball. But when she finally got the chance to play for the Oregon Ducks during the 2020-21 season, she made an immediate impact. Her 6'7" frame and skill set made her a standout player, and she quickly became one of the most recognizable names in women's college basketball. While Sedona was already known in basketball circles, she became a national figure in 2021 when she posted a TikTok exposing the NCAA's unequal treatment of women's athletes. During the March Madness tournament, Sedona and her teammates were shocked by the vast difference between the men's and women's facilities. While the men's team had state-of-the-art weight rooms and full training facilities, the women's teams were given a single rack of dumbbells and a few yoga mats. Sedona took to TikTok to call out the NCAA, and the video immediately went viral, racking up millions of views and sparking a national conversation about gender equality in college sports. The impact was huge. The NCAA was forced to respond, ultimately improving the facilities for the women's teams. Sedona became a symbol of advocacy for women's athletes, gaining hundreds of thousands of followers overnight. Major brands and media outlets began reaching out, wanting to feature her as a voice for change.
I got something to show y'all. So for the NCAA March Madness, the biggest tournament in college basketball for women, this is our weight room. Let me show y'all the men's weight room. Now, when pictures of our weight room got released versus the men's, the NCAA came out with a statement saying that it wasn't money, it was space that was a problem. Let me show y'all something else. Here's our practice court, right? And then here's that weight room. And then here's all this extra space. If you aren't upset about this problem, then you're a part of it.
From that moment on, Sedona fully embraced her role as a social media personality. She became one of the most followed women's basketball players on TikTok, sharing a mix of basketball content, personal life updates, including relationship content with her then-girlfriend Riley. Her charismatic personality and unfiltered approach to social media made her wildly popular, especially within the LGBTQ+ sports community. She was seen as an inspiration for young athletes who felt underrepresented, and her openness about her sexuality helped break barriers in women's sports. Despite her growing social media fame, Sedona's basketball career did not go as planned. After her time at Oregon, she decided to transfer again, this time to Texas Christian University, TCU. While she still had hopes of making a career in professional basketball, injuries and other factors led to inconsistent playing time. Instead, it seemed like social media and influence had become her main focus. She signed brand deals, collaborated with other creators, and continued to grow her online presence. While she was still an athlete, she was now better known as an influencer, a transition that would ultimately make her public downfall even more dramatic. For years, Sedona was beloved for her advocacy, humor, and authenticity. But as her personal life became increasingly public, cracks began to show. Her high-profile relationships, once seen as aspirational, started attracting negative attention, with exes hinting at toxic dynamics behind the scenes. Then came the TikTok series that changed everything, a viral wave of allegations that flipped the narrative. How did she go from a role model to the center of a social media scandal? Let's talk about it. The rise and fall of public figures often plays out in dramatic fashion on social media, but few have seen as swift a backlash as Sedona Prince. Once hailed as a beloved LGBTQ+ sports figure, she now finds herself at the center of a viral controversy known as Surviving Sedona. So how did all this start? Who are the key players? And what exactly has been said about her behavior in relationships?
Life does not. Oh my God. Oh.
Surviving Sedona is the name given to a growing wave of allegations against the Sedona Prince. It started as a series of TikTok videos, but quickly escalated into a full-blown scandal. The phrase itself is a play on the documentary series Surviving R. Kelly, which detailed years of abuse allegations against the singer. While the situations are vastly different, the use of the term surviving suggests that multiple people have come forward with similar negative experiences about Sedona, creating a pattern of alleged toxic and manipulative behavior. At the center of this narrative is Via, a TikTok creator who documented her experience dating Sedona and made serious accusations about their time together. Her videos opened the floodgates, leading other exes, including Riley, to come forward with their own stories. What started as one person sharing a bad breakup experience soon turned into a movement of ex-partners exposing a pattern of behavior.
I didn't realize that you can still get blocked text messages on your laptop, and I just stumbled across one from a certain somebody saying I tarnished what we had, and what I'm posting on social media has ruined it. You want to know what tarnished what we had? Let's get into it. It's time.
The backlash against Sedona exploded after a viral TikTok series from a creator named Via. Via had dated Sedona, and according to her, the relationship was far from picture perfect. She accused Sedona of emotional manipulation, reckless behavior, and infidelity. But the biggest focus of her series was the disastrous birthday trip to Mexico that changed everything. Via's TikTok breakdown included emotional turmoil and gaslighting. Via claimed that throughout their relationship, Sedona had mood swings, frequently love-bombed her, and then pulled away emotionally. She described Sedona as manipulative, often twisting situations to make Via feel guilty for things she wasn't responsible for. Via suggested that Sedona had been unfaithful, though she didn't provide direct proof. This accusation was later echoed by other exes who shared similar experiences. Sedona allegedly engaged in irresponsible and potentially dangerous behavior, particularly while traveling. Via recalled moments where she felt emotionally unsafe due to Sedona's unpredictable actions. These claims alone would have been enough to stir controversy, but it was the Mexico trip disaster that took things to another level.
One of who the fuck did I take to Mexico? Okay? So we wake up 3 a.m. before the plane ride. Already was scared because she is not good in the mornings, okay? Was always very angry. So I tried not to step on her toes, tried to stay out of her way until we got to the airport. We got on the plane, everything was fine, and then we sat next to each other, ordered a beer, and I accidentally spilled some of my beer.
One of the biggest turning points in this saga was the now infamous trip to Mexico, which Via described in painstaking detail on TikTok. According to Via, the trip was meant to be a romantic getaway for her birthday, but instead it turned into a chaotic and emotionally draining experience. Let's discuss the breakdown of the key incidents that made the trip such a disaster. Via claimed that Sedona's behavior became erratic, shifting from affectionate to distant and hostile within hours. Small disagreements reportedly turned into full-blown arguments, making the trip stressful and uncomfortable. One of the most shocking parts of Via's story was the suggestion that Sedona had been unfaithful while they were in Mexico. Via hinted at finding suspicious messages or catching Sedona in compromising situations, though exact details remain vague. According to Via, Sedona would break down emotionally whenever she was confronted about her behavior, making Via feel like she had to comfort her instead of holding her accountable.
So what'd she do? Got up and went and sat on the opposite side of the aisle from me for the rest of the plane ride. And what'd I do? Looked outside the window and cried until I fell asleep and until we got to Mexico.
This type of behavior is often associated with toxic relationships, where one person deflects blame by making themselves appear as the victim. By the end of the trip, Via felt completely drained and disrespected, leading her to end the relationship. Once Via shared these experiences on TikTok, thousands of users resonated with her story, sparking conversations about toxic relationship dynamics and emotional in queer relationships. Via's videos gained so much traction that it wasn't long before other exes of Sedona started coming forward. One of the most notable voices was Riley, another former partner who had previously dated Sedona. Riley backed up many of Via's claims, adding that she too had experienced toxic and manipulative behavior while dating Sedona. She accused Sedona of cheating during their relationship. She had tried to warn others but had been ignored until the TikTok series gained attention. With multiple exes now speaking out, the public started seeing a pattern, which made the allegations even more damning. While Sedona hadn't responded in detail yet, her reputation was taking a serious hit. As expected, social media took over the narrative.
She is swerving it, yelling at me, "We're broken up, I'm breaking up with you, this is your fault, you're holding me back." And I'm literally saying, "Okay, we're broken up, okay, let's just talk about this when we get back, please stop swerving." I black out.
Thousands of users stitched Via's videos, sharing their own stories about dating people with similar toxic traits. The hashtag Surviving Sedona started trending, with people discussing the allegations in real time. Some users joked about red flags in past Sedona videos, analyzing her behavior in hindsight. Some basketball fans expressed disappointment, stating that Sedona's influence in the LGBTQ+ community made these allegations even more upsetting. As the backlash intensified, petitions were even started to remove Sedona from TCU's basketball team, showing how much her reputation had suffered. This narrative took on a life of its own, morphing from a single person's experience into a larger discussion about toxic relationships and accountability for influencers.
Okay, this is a genuine question. There's a video of she who shall not be named, a TCU basketball player, might be 6'7". Anyways, there's a video of her where she runs up to a car window and goes, "I know you," and then like runs away. I feel like she's wearing an elf costume. It vanished off the internet.
When allegations against a public figure surface, social media tends to react swiftly, sometimes with outrage, sometimes with skepticism, and often with chaos. In Sedona Prince's case, the backlash came fast and furious, but it wasn't entirely one-sided. While many were quick to condemn her, others defended her or at least questioned the validity of the accusations. So how did fans react? What was the immediate fallout? And how did Sedona respond to the growing controversy? Let's break it down. When Via's TikTok series first went viral, the internet did what it always does. It took sides. Some were shocked and disturbed by the allegations, while others were hesitant to pass judgment without hearing Sedona's side of the story. A large portion of fans immediately turned against Sedona, following reasons that multiple exes shared similar stories suggested a pattern of behavior rather than just one bitter breakup. The Mexico trip disaster seemed like an undeniable display of reckless and emotionally abusive behavior. Some pointed out that Sedona had previously positioned herself as a role model, which made the allegations even more disappointing. A growing sentiment that toxic behavior in the LGBTQ+ relationships is often overlooked, making this a larger conversation about accountability.
The final straw that broke the camel's back happened. And that's all it took for me to pack my bags and book the nearest flight out of Mexico back to the States. Called my mom, told her everything that happened, and I was out. But what happened was I got blocked. All of the pictures got removed immediately, like I was the one who did something wrong. And that's what started the social media snowball, even though they were the one to come to me, pressing me, saying that if I took it to social media, they would pursue legal action. That was the first thing said to me, not an apology. Freaking bruh. And look, I never wanted to take it to social media, but it's come to a point where I'm posting normal content and I'm getting pressed about it.
Many fan users and TikTokers demanded that Sedona be held responsible for her actions. Some went as far as calling for her removal from TCU's basketball team. On the other side, a group of fans came to Sedona's defense, arguing that breakups are messy, and just because multiple exes have negative things to say doesn't mean everything is true. There was no concrete proof of the most serious allegations like cheating and emotional abuse. Some believed that Via was using this situation for clout, exaggerating the details to gain social media traction. Others felt that Sedona was being unfairly villainized in a way that men in sports rarely are. One common defense was that no one is perfect, and while Sedona may have made mistakes, she didn't deserve to have her entire career destroyed over relationship drama. A smaller group of people remained on the fence, waiting to hear Sedona's side before making any judgments. Only one side of the story had been heard. Without Sedona's response, it was hard to know the full truth. Online accusations can sometimes be exaggerated or taken out of context, making it important to separate fact from speculation. They felt that jumping to conclusions before hearing all sides was unfair, even if the allegations were serious. Regardless of which side people were on, the backlash was growing, and it didn't take long for the controversy to impact Sedona's basketball career.
Sedona says that she hasn't been the best partner or girlfriend, and she is taking accountability for that.
Now, in saying that, though, right, I know that I have not been the best partner, and I take accountability for that.
One of the most immediate consequences of the scandal was the demand for TCU to take action. As more people rallied behind the Surviving Sedona movement, a petition started circulating online calling for Sedona to be removed from TCU's women's basketball team. Why were people calling for her removal? TCU is a high-profile program, and some fans believed that keeping Sedona on the team would be a bad look for the university. The allegations painted a picture of emotional abuse and manipulation, which many felt should be grounds for disciplinary action. Some felt that if a male athlete faced similar accusations, there would be stronger consequences. So why should Sedona get a pass? The petition gained traction quickly, gathering thousands of signatures within days. While TCU did not immediately comment, the pressure was mounting for them to make a decision. With the controversy spiraling out of control, Sedona finally broke her silence and issued a statement addressing the situation. Her response, shared on social media, did not directly deny all allegations, but instead focused on the mental and emotional backlash which had taken on her, also her struggles with mental health and the impact of online hate. She also calls for compassion and understanding, stating that no one is perfect. You can see that rather than aggressively defending herself or countering Via's claims, Sedona took a more emotional approach, highlighting how difficult it was to be under such intense scrutiny.
All right, hello everyone. I have seen and heard everything that's been said and what's transpired these last few weeks on the internet, and I have been quiet because I've genuinely just been listening and taking everything in. I have been holding myself accountable and reflecting into the mistakes that I've made and the things I've done in my past in order to be completely honest and transparent with y'all and hold myself accountable to the internet, right? Like I should have done a long time ago. And I wasn't ready to yet until last night. My parents were brought into this, and now my 60 and almost 70-year-old mother and father have been receiving countless death threats and getting harassed all day and are scared. It's cruel, it's wrong, and it's not the way that we should hold each other accountable. It's just not right. Now, I have never abused anybody in my life. That's not who I am. That's not what I do. That's not what I stand for. I've never abused anybody emotionally, physically, mentally, verbally. That's not me, and that's not what I've done. That's not who I am. Now, in saying that, though, right, I know that I have not been the best partner, and I take accountability for that. I have not been a great girlfriend at times, and I have fallen short so many times in my relationships. I wanted to give my all. I wanted to be the best partner that I could be. I just didn't have the right tools at the time, and I wasn't that complete person that I thought that I was. And to my ex-girlfriends, I genuinely am sorry. I really am. These past 4 months, and a lot of, the last years of my life, but especially these past 4 months, I have been completely off social media and locked out from all the outside noise in the world to focus on myself and to go to intense trauma therapy and to heal so much pain that's been with me, right, for so long and affecting the choices that I make and the things that I do in my adult life. I have been journaling, right, meditating, these things that I need to do in order to be the best person that I can be and consistently grow and heal and learn and develop into the human being and the adult that I know that I can be. I hope that everyone involved in this can just find peace and healing and forgiveness, and that we can move on and learn something from this, and that, you all know that in my life, all I strive to do is to be good and to give back and to help people and to make this world a better place. And that's all I will continue to do. It is. So Thanks.
Sedona's statement received mixed reactions. Supporters saw it as a vulnerable moment. Some fans appreciated that she addressed her mental health struggles. They felt that she was being honest and transparent rather than engaging in a public fight. They argued that she was human and deserved a chance to grow and change. Critics saw it as a deflection. Others saw her response as avoiding accountability, focusing more on how she felt rather than addressing the allegations directly. Some even pointed out that mental health struggles don't excuse toxic behavior. The lack of a clear denial of cheating or manipulation made some feel she was guilty by omission, and many felt that if Sedona truly wanted to clear her name, she needed to directly refute the claims rather than just talk about how she was feeling. Her statement did little to stop the backlash, and in some ways it only fueled more debate about whether she was taking responsibility for her actions.
I have been quiet because I've genuinely just been listening and taking everything in. I have been holding myself accountable and reflecting into the mistakes that I've made. And I have never abused anybody in my life. That's not who I am. That's not what I do. That's not what I stand for. I've never abused anybody emotionally, physically, mentally, verbally. That's not me, and that's not what I've done. That's not who I am.
She was literally smirking the entire time. It's the slight smile she has the entire time that gives me the worst feeling. Whenever a public figure faces backlash, the conversation often shifts to cancel culture. The big question here, is Sedona Prince facing justified consequences, or is this an overreaction? In the case for accountability, if multiple exes are coming forward with similar stories of toxicity and manipulation, it suggests a pattern rather than just one bad relationship. Holding influencers and athletes accountable is important, especially when they hold positions of influence. This is not just a case of petty relationship drama. The allegations include serious emotional harm. In the case of overreaction, people make mistakes in relationships, and messy breakups don't always mean someone is a horrible person. The situation was amplified by social media, which often exaggerates drama for clicks and engagement. But if Sedona were a less famous person, would people still be calling for her to lose her career? This debate highlights a larger issue with cancel culture. Where is the line between holding someone accountable and destroying their future over past mistakes? The Surviving Sedona saga has left a lasting mark on Sedona's reputation, and the fallout is still ongoing. Her career, her image, and her future all hang in the balance. As the backlash continues, another question emerges. Will Sedona be able to move past this scandal, or will it define her for years to come? The Sedona Prince controversy has sparked a much bigger conversation, one that extends beyond just her personal relationships. It raises important questions about how abuse allegations are handled in LGBTQ+ relationships, the role of social media in exposing toxic behavior, and whether public callouts are truly the best way to address these issues.
There's gonna be a Netflix documentary about this girl.
When people think about abuse in relationships, they often imagine a sexual dynamic with a male abuser and a female victim. This perception has made it harder for people to recognize that abuse can happen in any relationship, including same-sex ones. And now, why is abuse in LGBTQ+ relationships overlooked? There are several reasons why toxic and abusive behavior in LGBTQ+ relationships often goes unaddressed. One, which is a lack of awareness. Many people don't realize that abuse can happen in same-sex relationships, leading to less recognition and support. In relationships between women, there's a societal assumption of equality, making it harder for people to see one partner as an abuser. The LGBTQ+ community already faces discrimination and stigma. Because of this, many people are hesitant to speak out about abuse, fearing it could reinforce negative stereotypes. Many domestic violence shelters and resources are designed for heterosexual relationships, making it harder for LGBTQ+ survivors to get the support they need.
Maybe I'm the problem. No.
In Sedona's case, some fans initially hesitated to believe the allegations, partly because of the gender dynamics and partly because of the public image Sedona had built. However, as more exes spoke out, it became clear that LGBTQ+ relationships aren't immune to toxic and manipulative behavior. In recent years, social media has become a powerful tool for people to share their experiences and call out alleged toxic or abusive behavior. But this raises an important question. Is social media the right place to handle these issues? They give survivors a voice. Many people who experience abuse feel silenced. Social media allows them to speak out and find support. They hold people accountable. Traditional systems like the legal system often fail survivors. Public callouts can force people to face consequences when other options aren't available. Many people don't recognize toxic relationship patterns until they see them exposed online. These discussions help educate others. For Via and Sedona's other exes, social media provided a way to warn others and make sure their voices were heard. A short TikTok or Twitter thread rarely tells the full story. Relationships are complicated, and public callouts can sometimes misrepresent events. Once an accusation goes viral, the damage is often irreversible, even if it turns out to be exaggerated or false. Some argue that relationship conflicts should be handled privately rather than turning them into viral moments. And in Sedona's case, many people wondered whether exposing her behavior online was the right move, or if it would have been better to handle things in a more private way.
Our thoughts on need to speak on mental health.
At the core of this debate is the larger ethical question. Should the internet be the ultimate judge in personal disputes? On one hand, social media has helped countless survivors share their experiences and hold people accountable. On the other hand, it's also led to misinformation, exaggerated narratives, and instant career destruction. For some, Via's decision to go public was a way to warn others and seek justice. For others, it felt like airing private grievances in a way that couldn't lead to a fair resolution. What's clear, though, is that this conversation goes beyond Sedona Prince. It's part of a much bigger issue about how we handle allegations, accountability, and justice in the digital age. But what's next for Sedona Prince? Can she recover from this scandal? Or has the damage to her career and reputation already been done? I feel like Sedona loved both Liv and Riley as much as it is possible for someone with her tendencies to love another person. However, she tends to just seek her reflection in their eyes without any real attempt to participate in a loving relationship.
Sedona Prince has fouled out with 6.5 minutes to go. The seventh-year senior who started her career at Texas, playing in 4 of those 7 seasons on the 40 acres, and then at Oregon, and now at TCU.
At 24 years old, Sedona Prince still has time to turn things around, but the road ahead won't be easy. This controversy has impacted both her basketball career and her influencer status. The petition to remove her from TCU basketball shows that some fans and critics don't want her on the team. If her reputation continues to decline, she could struggle with sponsorships, name, image, likeness, deals, and future playing opportunities.
You're not going to believe what Sedona Prince bought with her NIL money.
A boat. I bought a boat. That was cool. It's an Oregon boat, made in Oregon. It's called the Rhinell, I think. But yeah, it's fast. It's like a speedboat, kind of, but I'll just be tanning on it, so I'm excited. Forgot to tell you I bought a boat, by the way.
If she excels on the court, some of the controversy might fade, as people tend to forgive athletes who perform well. However, if TCU sees her as a liability, she could face disciplinary action or even lose her spot on the team. Sedona built a huge following on social media because of her relatable content, humor, and basketball journey. But with the negative attention, brands might hesitate to collaborate with her, feeling backlash. If she continues posting like nothing happened, she risks looking out of touch. But if she addresses it too much, she keeps fueling the controversy. Her best move might be laying low for a while, then gradually rebuilding her image through charity work, positive content, or basketball success.
Inbounds. So Prince will check.
In the past, many public figures have faced scandals, and their responses determined whether they recovered or disappeared. Some public figures double down, deny everything, and claim they're being unfairly attacked. This often backfires, making them look guilty or dismissive. If Sedona chooses this route, she could risk further alienating fans and brands. Some celebrities own up to their mistakes, apologize, and show real change. And if Sedona issues a genuine, heartfelt apology and takes steps to improve herself, some fans might forgive her. Pairing this with actions like supporting abuse awareness or mental health initiatives could help rebuild her reputation. Some figures go silent for months or years, then return with a fresh start. If Sedona steps away from the spotlight, focuses on basketball, and reappears later, the scandal might lose momentum. However, in the age of the internet, people don't forget easily, so she would need a strong comeback plan.